One thing I do want to point out as we get going here, the title of this is Bridging the IT Gap. Well, one thing that I want to make clear to everyone is that we're not going to just tell you something you probably haven't heard already today. We're just going to try to put this in a wrapper so that it does make sense. I think we're all, including Cisco, we are all challenged to be business relevant. That's as we go through all of our programs this year and how we're going to be graded, we see ourselves with that phrase, business relevant. Cisco has invested quite a bit of money in creating the group that the Cisco team that's here today is part of. We are part of the business transformation team. What does that mean? Is that we, along the back here, we're part of a group that is mostly business-oriented folks. My job is to really bring some of a business perspective to the group. I am not a nuts and bolts guy. I'm a banker by trade, mostly from the consulting side, but still a banker. And so my job is to help from the Cisco side find solutions that make business relevant sense. So when you're talking to your business customers, your internal customers, and they're challenging you to be business relevant, that's where we come into play. You can use your relationship with Cisco to do so. So what I'm going to show today is some of the tools that we use as a business transformation team to show that business relevance. So as we go through this, ask questions. Last session of the day, ask questions. Feel free. All right. Any questions before we get going? All right. What's driving the need for change? We've seen this slide a million times over the past 2 days, right? It's our customers. Our customers act in a different way. They purchase in a different way than they did 5-10 years ago. How many of you don't buy something off the web, off your phone, off your tablet? You didn't do that 10-15 years ago. That type of customer and that type of transaction is driving how our customers view a financial institution. So what does that mean? It's pretty simple when you're talking about retail merchandising. I buy my shirt online, it doesn't fit, I return it in the store. Everything meshes together. Pretty easy to see how that works. The question of how does that work from a financial services standpoint is a little bit different, because there is no shirt to buy and there is no store to return it to. So its question is, what is it that people really want? And so what we're trying to really pull together is, what is that factor? What is that convenience? What is that? And I hate to use the word because everyone hates it now. What is the omni-channel view of all this that makes it relevant for a financial institution? So that's why we're all here. This is why we're all making changes. So, okay, staying relevant to in today's business banking trends. Here's one thing that I kind of a phrase that I like to use. It's the trend is allowing customers to interact with the bank in the manner they choose, whatever that may be, inside or outside the bank. We've created a lot of tools, and a lot of sessions have said this. We've created a lot of tools that allow customers to bank outside of our institution. And what's taken a hit for that? Customer service. And so we need to be able to service them both inside and outside the bank. The other piece is using the devices they want to use. Phone, tablet, whatever the case may be. They want to use the devices they've personally invested in to do their business. With the ability to close the deal virtually. Wherever they are, they don't want to have to come into the bank to sign paperwork. They want to do it right then at 11 o'clock at night from the convenience of their kitchen table. Or from the lot at the car dealer. Or from the showroom floor when they're buying furniture. Or when they're in their neighbor's driveway trying to buy a car from them. Wherever they happen to be. So, let's talk a little bit about how you do that. So this is where I'm going to get a little bit more tactical, and so you guys can ask questions about what in the world this is. First one is allowing them to interact in the manner they choose. Some of the things that we see out there, you see access to those experts remotely, wherever those experts are. What you see here is from a video from our BAI conference last November. We were showcasing, might need water, sorry. We were showcasing our remote expert product and just showing how customers can reach out and find experts wherever those experts may be. Meaning, well, you can see here, we're kind of going through it, I'll back it up, but if you've got customers who walk into a branch and are looking for pick an expert, mortgage, auto, or whatever it might be, and that expert is not in a branch on that given day. Let's say you walk in on Wednesday and say, I'm here to talk mortgage. Back away from the speaker. If you're here to talk mortgage and that guy's there on Tuesdays, well, you just missed him. So your option is to chase him down across town or come back next Wednesday, neither of which are great options. So in this option, let me back up one more time. You can see how you're able to reach a customer based on what your need is. This is our product here, and I'm not going to, just to kind of give you an idea how it works. It's a one-touch system where you're able to walk up, punch what you're looking to find, and what happens is you authenticate yourself via here a card swipe, and then you're able to pull up an expert on the system in front of you. Now, you can do this very dynamically, and not in front of that, very dynamically, and share information with that customer. You see there's this collaboration screen where we're sharing paperwork, you're able to annotate and co-browse and everything with the customer on that screen and have a very interactive experience. So this is one way that we see folks, being able to reach out and get that expert, right in front of them when that customer does come into the branch, right? Now, we all know that doesn't always happen that way, but we're going to get to the mobile advisor solution, which is the one where they're not in the branch. But to give you an idea, here's one of this in action. See that this particular bank is using this type of a tool to engage their client that comes in, able to really just everything that you need for a person-to-person conversation is in place already. Being able to get a signature, trade information, have a life-like experience right with that person. So the other piece of this, similar to that is very oriented toward that more complicated business transaction. Now, what we also see is a lot of folks going to the video teller. There's a lot of products out there, the ITM, things like that, where you're able to do the same type of transaction we were just talking about with Remote Expert, but on a more tactical level, where I need to deposit a check. I need to do some transfers. I need to talk to a teller. So you can see here, this is the NCR product, where they're able to do that type of a transaction and have, like I said, have a little bit more of a nuts and bolts day-to-day type of transaction with the client. So again, giving them the options to interact in any way they choose. So, questions at this point? Anything? Okay. All right, but you say they don't come into the branches anymore. So the other piece of this is being able to engage them when they're not in your branch. So they're at home on their tablet, searching the web, looking at your products at night, doing whatever the case may be, doing their nightly view of the world. Well, they may have a question, and they're not going to come into the branch tomorrow, right? What we've got is a way to use these products, like I said, both inside and outside the bank. So allowing that content to have interaction with an expert or a generalist, whatever the case may be, so that you can have that type of a conversation and engage them immediately. A lot of banks you see here have what they call smart bars, where they use these tablets in an environment when they walk in, they've got them laid out on tables. And it's the same type of experience that customer can get at home at night. But now they've got it here in the branch using the same tools. Just to kind of give you an idea, let me give you an example. And I was going to do a demo with this, but it didn't want to work with us today. So we're going to kind of do this way. One of the partners that we work with around a mobile advisor experience is this account opening group. And the way it works is customer comes in, our customer logs into their tablet, or they just browsing the actual website, and they look out there and they want to open an account. Well, what happens is they go through a series of questions to kind of get some idea of who they are. From a consumer standpoint, it's a 2 to 3 minute process. From a small business, it's 11 to 12 minute process. So they answer some questions about who they are, what they do, et cetera, et cetera. As they're going through that process, they flip through the screens. If they've got a question about the questions themselves, they can hit a button and reach out to an expert. So now, at whatever time, whenever this is available to them. So now they're going through an account opening process at their own leisure. And again, this could be a smart bar, this could be at home. And now they've got the ability to ask this expert, what is it that I'm supposed to answer? What are you looking for? Now, the other piece of this is that, as I mentioned, you can co-browse and annotate with this customer. So like, I don't understand what that means or what you're looking for. They can actually help them punch it in, circle it, help them hit enter, where's it going, et cetera, et cetera. So you can actually walk them through this process. Now, the other piece of this is once they've answered all these questions, what they get is a comprehensive list of products that meet their needs based on their answers. So now it's no longer guesswork. I'll give you a good example is from a small business perspective. What we see when we bridge this gap is that a lot of customers on the small business side open DDA accounts. When they go through this process, I believe it was 88% of all the customers that are small business open a DDA account. However, when they get to treasury management and card services, they're opening like 40%. And I think wealth services was 27%. Because they need help. Because, DDA is, a checking account's easy to understand. They know what they need out of that. They don't know what they need from treasury services. And so this also gives you the ability, at this point, to reach out to an expert in that area to answer questions. So using a service like this, they've seen a 2 to 3%, a 3x, 300% increase in sales per session compared to the traditional opening process. So 3 times as many products in this type of a session versus traditional. So in terms of bridging that gap, bringing a product that can triple products at account opening is a pretty good way to become business relevant. So, questions about that? All right. One more. We talked about this a little bit. I was alluding to, being able to do remote type sales as well. Example that we use here in this one is, let's imagine that you're at a car lot and you're a social media guy and you check in on Foursquare. I can't do that stuff because people follow me. So I check in. You happen to check in at the car lot. So now you're at the car lot, and because I've said all the right yeses and nos, and I'm comfortable with you guys knowing that, send me offers. Send me based on what you know about me. Send me what I qualify for. Let me know what the rates are. Let me know where I stand. Because the typical world is that you're stuck on this parking lot with their financing. Not you guys. but you're stuck on their lot at their mercy. Well, what we're trying to do is take you out of that situation, give them access to their banker. So what they can do here is, I'm just simulating, yes, you can use my location. Hey, look, I like a car. So I punch on the car that I like. All of a sudden, I get some loan information. So I'm able to push information to them, including paperwork. So now I push the button because I want to talk to an expert about exactly what I'm getting myself into while he's off talking to the manager about finding me the world's best deal and trying to figure out what he's going to do with my trade-in. I'm out on the lot talking to my talking to my bank, getting all the information I need. And by the way, while he's inside, I'm signing my name on my iPad, or in my case, my Android tablet, and buying this car. And I've already done it while he's inside because I had all that information at my disposal because I was able to reach out to my bank. Now, where does this else? I said this earlier. This works in a lot of different scenarios. Anywhere where a customer's shopping, they're trying to get some type of indirect lending, car, furniture. You can probably pick a couple others. Where they're out on Saturday morning and they feel like they don't have options. And what we need to do as a bank and as a financial institution is have that service available to them so that they can get that type of information and that type of expert. So but it's really around, this works because the infrastructure and the services are behind it at the bank. So are there business changes that need to be made? Yes. This just doesn't happen. As we tell people, I can get the techie guys from Cisco to come out and get this working on your tablet in 6 weeks, 4 weeks. But if there's no one to answer the call, there's no one trained in that scenario, there is no expert that when you get the call on Saturday morning from someone at a car lot and says, I need help, and go, what the heck do you want me to do about it? You've got to have them trained. So that's the big piece of this. That's the bigger piece of this. Technology is only part of it. So that, again, that's where that bridge becomes necessary. That we've got to get both teams on the same side pulling to make this work. Any questions about that? All right, next piece is, I said, we want to use the devices they want to use. This is an interesting piece, and today we actually mocked up a smart TV with an app using Mobile Advisor, so you can actually see how that this technology goes from place to place. So it's a matter of engaging the customers on the platform they want to be engaged. You can see here, we're able to reach out to the expert and have a conversation with them over the TV. Good example of this that we would tell people was, imagine this. You're at the branch during the course of the day talking about refining your mortgage. You go through that remote expert session, get everything you could possibly need. You're like, all right, all I need to do at this point is sign. I'm like, you know what? Rather take this home, talk it over with the wife. Well, what's possible with all this is taking a recording of that session, bringing it home, firing it up on the television that night, and watching it with your wife. Everything that happened at the branch. And being able to, what did you say? Well, here's the conversation. It's all in one place. So that's kind of the power of, using whatever device the customer wants to use. Now, the last piece of this is closing that deal virtually. We've talked about a lot of stuff. Remote expert, mobile advisor, and now any device they want to use. Well, here we are. The wife said, yeah, I like what I saw in that video. Let's go ahead and close the deal. So you've got the ability to reach out to that customer right then, that night, give them the ability to put their signature down and capture that signature and close that deal. You don't want to wait till the next day. Now, the other piece of this is we're in the remote expert situation. You can also obviously get that signature in that remote expert session. This is a very important piece because a lot of customers, they don't want to come back. There's a term that we use called revenue leakage. If you don't close the deal, and it depends on who you believe, but if you don't close that deal and service your customer the very first time they walk in the door, again, who you believe, between 30 and 70% of them are gone. 30% is enough to say that that's bad, right? If it's 70, well, that's even worse. But it's the ability to close that deal because that's what people expect. I expect if I'm going to buy a shirt, I can buy it on my phone. I don't expect to have to go in the store to sign for it. I expect for it to show up at my door. And same thing here. Last piece of this is just to kind of ooh and ah a little bit. It's putting systems in place so that whatever mechanism you have for a signature, we can still meet those needs. What you're looking at right now is the ability to get a wet signature based on your signature off of these virtual channels. So you'll see here, sign on the tablet, and a robot signs the document for you. Now, everyone, all at the same time, compliance. Okay, but basically, what the purpose of this is so that if you've got a procedure in place that's based on wet signatures, you can keep that procedure using your virtual channels. So if your auto lending requires a wet signature on document A, you can still put document A underneath this printer and have that document signed. And you still have the wet signature on document A. Versus trying to reinvent the wheel in terms of your electronic digitals. Can you still do digital this way? Absolutely. We're just giving other options. So again, it's the ability, no matter what, to close that deal virtually. You want to have all your bases covered. And I'll tell you, the partner that we use on this one, their main emphasis is two areas. We actually do have a bank doing this with this product, but their main emphasis is healthcare and government. They have the Canadian government that uses this significantly. So, and they could give you the whole nuts and bolts and talk to compliance guys about how it works. I'm not going to try to make it, not going to try to convince you that it's okay, but there's a lot of nuances to it, and a lot of data around it that kind of gets them there. And this is one thing that you'd have to work through. So this may not be worth the fight in some situations, as to just go through the electronic signature fight. This is just giving you another avenue that you're like, my bank would never do this, but it's another avenue if it works. Actually, I want to cover one more topic, and I'll do it very quickly, and that's around engaging customers with compelling and timely offers. This is going to go into a little bit about being able to track people using their mobile devices. Obviously, if they've clicked all the right yeses and nos, you're going to be able to see this if you come to BAI this year in Chicago. We're going to do a little bit of this in our booth and track flows and track people and have patterns, so you can see how that when people are in your branch, you're able to engage them. You're able to know how they use your branch. Long-term study-wise, you can do a flow analysis of, I put all of this new branch restructuring in place, and now all of a sudden I want to see who's doing what and how the flow is. Where do they spend their time in my branch? With these tools, you can do that. You're able to track, what people do, how they do it. You're able to track people as they come in to your branch. We had a conversation. I had a conversation earlier today with someone around what if, right? What if I was able to know that customer was coming in the door? And what if I was able to have a tablet in my hand that told me a lot of good information about that customer? And you can read that well. Okay, good. What if you knew their last 5 transactions? What if you knew the last 5 times they were on your website, what they visited, how long they were there? What if you can see their last 5 credit cards, last 5 debit card transactions? Someone walks in, their last 3 withdrawals, using their ATM card have been in a hospital. The last time they were on my website, they spent 15 minutes looking at 529 accounts. What if the last 3 credit cards were at Babies R Us? And all that's in your hand when they walk in. Imagine what you know about that customer walking in the door. Now, can you authenticate that person walking in? Sure. Can you authenticate them with a swipe of a debit card? Sure. There's a lot of different ways to do that. But this type of information is, again, the kind of stuff, the kind of tools, the kind of solutions that'll make your business relevant and make the business, stand up and look and say, this is the kind of stuff that really draws and drives business. The benefit to the customer in that scenario is, they walk in, they get a timely offer. I don't have to explain myself. I've already spent a lot of time somewhat explaining myself to you last night by using the website for 15 minutes. By all the actions I've done with my ATM or debit card. I've explained myself to you that way. So now I get that smooth transaction without having to re-explain myself, because I've explained myself with my actions. Versus coming in and now spending time, okay, this is what I'm here for. But now you're able to engage that person immediately. Know them by name and be able to put up offers. I think we're out of time, folks. No, I think, thank you for your time, and we'll just go ahead and turn.